Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very good day to our lecturer and friends. My name is Fatini, which is I'm a representative from Group 7. Today we are presenting a case study on the 2020 Beirut port explosions. I will now show a short clip from a television to demonstrate the true scale of the massive explosions. Okay, as you can see, the impact was catastrophic. Now, let's look how and why this happened. Okay, before I go into how and why this happened, I will give a few information about this tragedy. This tragedy happened on 4 August 2020 at the warehouse 12 in the port of Beirut in Lebanon. It was recorded as one of the largest non-nuclear explosion in history. The blast was so powerful that it created a supersonic shockwave and a massive mushroom cloud. The causing total destruction for a kilometer, and then it was a clear example of a catastrophic safety failure. Many people are asking how did it happen, right? Let's we go through with how and why the explosion. It was actually a double explosion, and then the initial trigger started with a spark from the welding work being done the warehouse door, which is a warehouse 12, and then the fire then ignited nearby firewood and flash powder that were stored in the same building. The extreme heat and pressure from the initial fire then triggered the massive detonation of 2,750 tons of ammonia nitrates. The question is why the impact is so devastating, right? Let me explain for three critical factors. First, improper storage practice, which is the ammonia nitrate was left sitting there for 6 years without proper insulation for other hazardous material. And then second, formation of a large mass, which is over time, and some bag leak and the chemical solidify into a massive and unstable block. And then third, it lack of a safety system. Most importantly, the warehouse did not have an automatic sprinkler system. Without this, there was nothing to stop the small fire from turning into a global scale disaster.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nabil bin Azaimuddin, and I will present about the effects of destruction. This image shows visual comparison of the port of Beirut before and after the catastrophic explosion. On the left, we see the port as it once was, warehouse storing explosives and chemicals, including large quantities of ammonium nitrate. On the right, the aftermath is unmistakable. The explosion tore through the city, leaving behind a landscape of smoke, rubble, and destruction. This image isn't just a before and after, it's a reminder of consequences of negligence and the urgent need of transparency and safety in urban infrastructure. Moving on to the next slide. This infographic summarizes the scale of destruction in just a few key figures. 218 lives were lost and over 7,000 people were injured, many with life-altering wounds. The blast displaced 300,000 individuals, leaving families without homes and communities shattered. The explosion registered 3.3 on the Richter scale, Shockwave felt as far as 240 kilometers away, reaching Lebanon's neighbors and Syria and Cyprus. The estimated damage was a staggering 15 billion US dollar, affecting infrastructure, business, and livelihoods.
Now, let's talk about the effect to the country itself. Food insecurity. The explosion doesn't just destroy the port, it also destroyed a massive grain silo which turned out to be really catastrophic. These massive grain silos held Lebanon's only large-scale grain reserve, plunging the nation into an immediate food crisis. The 15 billion economic hit also accelerated the country's financial collapse, which then started a chain reaction into a political fallout, which then the public rage at the perceived corruption and negligence led to the immediate resignation of Prime Minister Hassan Diab and his entire cabinet. As a result, this resignation did not bring stability. Instead, it left Lebanon in a caretaker state, politically paralyzed for 13 months while the economy spiraled further down.
Hi, my name is Andrew Chan Yu Jun and matrix ID TL24021. Today I'll be explaining the governance and risk failures that lead to this disaster. It wasn't just an accident, it was a total breakdown of oversight. First, we saw the silo problem. Port authority, customs, and the coast all knew the chemicals were there, but because they worked in isolation, no single project owner took responsibility. Second, this was a ghost risk. It was never recorded in a formal risk register, so no mitigation plan existed. It sat for 7 years without an asset disposal plan, essentially treated as forgotten inventory rather than a liability. Finally, they completely ignore ISO safety centers. This proves that rules like ISO 31000 are useless if leadership doesn't enforce accountability. For the recovery, we use the 3LF framework: reform, recovery, and reconstruction. This is a structured project plan led by the World Bank. The strategy is to build back better. We are not just repairing, we are modernizing the port with digital tracking to fix the inventory failures that caused by the blast. To manage the project risk of corruption, the LFF was created. This trust fund ensures money goes directly to projects and NGOs, bypassing the bureaucracy that failed before. Our success factors are business continuity, restoring trade, and long-term public safety reform. Beirut teach us that transparent governance is essential for national survival. Thank you.
So next part I will talk about how disaster like Beirut can be prevented. First is those chemical must be stored safely. So according to safety standard, dangerous chemical must be clearly labeled and also must be stored in suitable condition and stored away from the stored away from the heat and also fire source. So next part is conduct regular inspection and risk assessments. So this is very important to help identify a hazard early, ensure the safety and regulation are followed. In the Beirut case, repeated warning was be ignored, which is make the risk increase. The risk increase, so that's why the explosion is happening. So third is disaster risk is increased by poor management, lack of decision making, weak condition, coordination, and failure to act on the safety warning allow the dangerous condition to continue over and over and again and again. So next part is for planning for emergencies, for reduced fatalities and injuries. So evacuation must be prepared. Worker and authorities should be know how to respond quickly during the emergency to reduce injuries and lost life. Those last is authorities must take responsibility. So strong leadership and for the safety law and accountability are essential to prevent industrial disaster. Next part is conclusions. To conclude, the Beirut explosion is not is preventable disaster caused by poor management is an unsafe handling of hazardous material. It was not a natural accident, but the result of negligence and poor management, and also lack of inspection and weak safety enforcement. This tragedy highlights the importance of management and strict safety regulation and accountable by authorities by prioritizing the safety and responsibility. Similar disaster can be prevented in the future. So last part is our references. So you can click the link, or you can search the title for the more information from the website. You can get there from if you want to know more deep about this disaster. You can go to that website. So that's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.